Welcome back. I'm Shireen with Olive Street Designs, and I am working on a bed set today. You don't normally see me do bed sets, but this is part of a very large 7-piece set that I'm working my way through. And once I'm done with this piece, this is going to become a large 7-piece set that will all be very well coordinated. This came from Facebook Marketplace and was pretty dirty, so I had to spend some time getting everything really scrubbed down and cleaned up so I can start getting ready to do some scuff sanding. This is going to be refinished in the same style as the other pieces, and we're going full farmhouse. And it's so cool when you can have multiple pieces in completely different styles all coordinate well together once they're refinished in the same style. This was in pretty good condition, although I did have to get out the spot putty and go over a bunch of little dents and dings, to be expected when something's used. So it was in pretty good condition, just a few things to touch up. Time to get out the spray tent. Get that all set up. This is a big 12 by 12 easy up. I put a drop cloth down, then some side walls. This is a big set, so I wanted to be able to spray it all at one time, and I set up the big tent. Now I have these laying on dollies so that I can wheel them back and forth, and I'm going to be completely refinishing one side, let them sit overnight, and then flip them over and do the other side. This does add, of course, an extra day to the entire process, but they came to me without all of the hardware to set them up. Otherwise, I would probably have stood these up and put the frame together so that it was easier to spray. But we're going to work with what we've got here. So I'm laying everything down. This is a coat of primer. Just getting that all sprayed. I'm going to set my fan out so that this gets nice and dry. Let that sit a couple of hours and come back, and it's time for paint. Again, these are being painted in the same style as the other pieces, and we're going with a nice creamy Swiss coffee white. I know they looked white previously until you see the white now against the gray primer. Especially when I'm going from that really dark wood all the way to white, using the gray primer in the middle just is a big bonus without having to do 3 and 4 coats of white. It's a big time saver. So again, let everything dry in between coats. This is the second coat of white. And while that one's drying, I'm going to go ahead and address the mirror. Now you're watching me do pieces that you probably don't see me do very often, but when I get an entire bedroom suite that I need to refinish, I do some things out of the norm. So bedroom sets are rare, mirrors are rare, but this is the process for, I know I did spend a bunch of time on this, I have to say, trying to take this mirror apart. It is from the 1950s, and a lot of times you can take the back off, remove the mirror itself, and then just paint the frame. This one was so well made and so attached on the inside, there was absolutely no way I could get it apart without fear of actually breaking the mirror. So I decided to just tape everything off on the inside there and then prep and get this ready. I have a sanding sponge in my hand because every inch of this mirror is curved. And although I could grab my surf prep, I didn't want to damage all of the masking that I've just put down, so I'm going to just do this by hand. There's not a lot to this. It's just a quick scuff sanding just to get that surface roughed up a bit, give it a good cleaning, and into the tent we go. I've got this on a little picnic table that's sitting on dollies so that it's mobile, and it will be the same process as the bed, a good coat of primer on everything. And because I have everything on wheels, I'll spray this, I'll wheel it back out, and I'll put the bed frame back in the tent and go back and forth between them. You could certainly do this by hand, but I will say a paint sprayer makes painting curves like this so much easier. All right, that primer had some time to set. And then now the same paint color as everything else. This again is Swiss coffee. And even though this is going to be just hanging on the wall, it is going to get all of the same coats. So it will have 2 coats of paint as well as top coat. Okay, it's the next day, and as I said, I'm gonna now flip this over. You could see over there that the mirror is all finished. I removed that masking and it's ready to go. I'm just gonna let that sit there for a day or so. But it's time to flip this bed over. So the other side now is very dry, again overnight, so I'm not in fear of damaging anything by laying it back on the dollies. But I have the finished side, or the really pretty side that's not going against the wall. I'm doing that last, just in case I do scratch up anything with those dollies. This is going to be the side that gets done last. So I scuff sanded everything there, and now just giving it another quick cleaning before it goes in the tent. I cleaned these in the very beginning with a good degreaser. It's amazing how much grease and things actually get on a headboard. I think from the pillows and everything up against a headboard, they do over time kind of collect a lot of oils. So it's important to use a degreaser on the headboard. So same process here. Now that I've flipped it over, this is going to be a good coat of primer. And again, the other side was really flat. I mean, you could have rolled that, but when you get to these areas where there's so many intricate details, it's so much easier to have the sprayer. I had an area that just had a really rough spot, so I added that glazing and spot putty, sanded it down, and now it's good to go, nice and smooth. My paint layer. All right, I'm just gonna set up my fan and let that sit for a couple of hours. And then I came back to do my second coat, and these seams were just glaring at me. And yes, you could just paint it and leave these. You really don't notice them at all on a stained piece, but when you go to paint something, especially in white, these types of seams just stand out, and to me, they just look horrible. So I'm gonna spend the next probably 60 to 90 minutes doing nothing but caulking every single seam, which means every little area. This took a really long time because it's layer upon layer. So I'm using a caulk that is the same type of caulking that you would have in your house around all of your baseboards and door trims, which is just a painter's caulk, and it does just fine with furniture as well. You do have to make sure that this is not on the final coat. When you do the caulking, it needs to be in between coats because it does need to be covered. It does eventually yellow, even though it looks white going on. So let's take a quick look back at where we started, and here we are. This is a beautiful white farmhouse style bed that I think now is going to coordinate nicely with all the other pieces. So be sure to follow along so you can see how the set all comes together.